Alright, first and foremost, I'd like to give out praises, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Makah Kodash. Thou honors to the apostles and the elders that do rule by that great millstone. Peace and salutation to the Akia Mother pushing this gospel in sincerity and truth. So shalom to you humble and sincere sisters out there as well. This lesson is entitled We All Matter. And what inspired this lesson was basically, let me say, I had to scrape up, right, a pool of water, right. Let me say it had this room and it was full with water, and I needed to scoop up all this water down the drain hole, right. But the room was very flooded out, and I thought I wouldn't finish because of how much water it was. But I realized that the more I obviously continue to every stroke with the scraper I was using, right, more water was getting pushed back, right, going down the drain hole, right, and then eventually all the water was sucked down. And I just looked back and I was like, wait, but every stroke mattered, from the first pass of the scraper to the last. Each one mattered, and none was more important than the other one, right? None was more important than the other. It was just me scraping each part of the room, right, doing the same repetitive move over and over again, and that got the job done. And I began to further ponder this thought, and I was like, well, the first swipe wasn't more important than the second, nor the third, and the last swipe wasn't more important or wasn't less important than the first. So then this turned to me thinking about like the military, and I was like, is a captain more important than a lieutenant? Is a sergeant more important than a corporal? And is the corporal more important than the privates? Is a king more important than his people? Or is the people more important than the king? And you come to realize that it has nothing to do with importance, or who better, or who has a more significant rank, or all these things. Because a king cannot be a king without subjects, right? You cannot be a king of nothing. You cannot be a king without a kingdom of people, right? You will have nothing to rule over. You would have nothing to govern. You would have nothing to lead, right? And a people would not be able to function without somebody to govern them, without somebody to guide them. So the king is not more important than his people, because without his people he is nothing. And the people is not more important than the king, because without that hedge, without that guide, they themselves are nothing. Right? Without the privates, right? Without the privates, who does the corporal have to give orders to? And without the privates, without the corporal, who could the sergeant, when the captain or the lieutenant sends down orders for him, who is he going to carry those orders to? Right? You look at the job place. What is a manager without the regular workers? Who is he or she going to manage? Right? And then the regular workers, they need somebody to to run the job, right? So they themselves need the manager, they need the supervisor to supervise, right? So it's not necessarily about the individual or the specific rule, but it's about the overall picture. Because while I was scraping the water, each scrape was doing the same thing. Each scrape was allowing me to reach that goal, which was to get rid of all the water. The first scrape, the second, the third, the fourth, the 10th, the 20th, the 50th scrape, all was doing the same exact thing, pushing the water into the drain hole. Right? Some scrapes were short, right? Some were longer. You know, I had to scrape sideways. I might have to use a different angle. And even though they were all different, none was better than the next. They all were doing the very same thing. And that is what the body of Yahushua is. There's nobody that is better than another. There's nobody that is more needed than somebody else. It don't make sense, right? It does not make sense whatsoever. And the scripture about to bring out will prove this. In 1 Corinthians chapter 12, start at 21. No, matter of fact, I'll start at 14. It says, for the body, right? The body of Yahushua, the church, right? Which are the elect, right? That are gathering throughout the four corners of the earth. It says, for the body is not one member but many, right? So let me look at the fleshly body, for example, right? Your entire body is one body, but it's not one member. It is a whole body, but there's different parts. You look at a computer, you have a CPU, you have a motherboard, you have a graphics card, you have a power supply, you have RAM, right? You have fans, you know. you have different components in this computer to make it run, and all the components are needed in order for this computer to effectively run, right? You have the monitor, because you can have a powerful ring, but how are you going to display said power without a monitor? How are you going to hear what is being displayed without the speakers? So even if the computer could run without speakers, it would not be the same. It would not have the same effect, you understand, without audio. Alright? You could have a console, right? Let's say you have a PS5, but what purpose? You could have the most powerful TV, the most powerful monitor, right, with this PS5. What is the purpose if you don't have a controller? Right? And what is the purpose? Now, you might say, well, the PS5 is the that come like the rig, that come like, that is where all the components, that is the console. But how could you enjoy this console, enjoy this power without a controller? Right? In a car, is the steering wheel more important than the handbrakes? You understand? Is the gas pedal more important than the brakes pedal? You see how ridiculous it sounds? So stupid all these analogies are sounding, because it is not about the individual, it's not about the one part, it's about the entire system. And a true leader understands this. He understands he is not the ruler, or he is not the how to put it, the not the key, but he is not the only important piece on the board. He understands that this is a unit, and he has to govern this unit, right? And that is it. That is his role that he must play for the sake of the unit, for the sake of the body, right? This is not his show. You understand? Verse 15, it says, the foot shall say, because I am not the hand, I am not of the body. Is it therefore not of the body? And if the ear shall say, because I am not the eye, I am not of the body. Is it therefore not of the body? If the whole body were an eye, where were the hearing? If the whole were hearing, where were the smelling? But now hath Yahweh set the members, every one of them in the body, as it hath pleased him. And if they were all one member, where were the body? But now are there many members, yet but one body. And the eye cannot say unto the hand, I have no need of thee, nor again the head to the feet, I have no need of you. Nay, much more those members of the body which seem to be more feeble are necessary, and those members of the body which we think to be less honorable, upon these we bestow more abundant honor, and our uncomely parts have more abundant comeliness. For our comely parts have no need, but Yahweh hath tempered the body together, having given more abundant honor to the part which lacked, that there should be no schism in the body, but that the members should have the same care one for another, right? One for another. So you look at your fleshly body. Are your legs more important than your hands? No. Is your heart more important than your brain? No. Is your left lung more important than your right? No. Right? Is your biceps more important than your triceps? No. Are your eyes more important than your ears? Is your tongue more important than your nose? No. No. Right? It is not. In order for your body to function fully, you need all its parts. Every single part is needed for your body to function properly at 100%. Right? So the eyes, when you look at somebody, right, you look at a woman, one of the things that will catch your attention is her eyes, because the eyes are fair to look upon, right? They say the eyes is the doorways to your soul, right, and all that. But because of the beauty of the eyes, does that make the eyes more important than the ears? Absolutely not. Sure, the eyes are more beautiful. Sure, the eyes allow you to see. Even though the ears are not so comely, they have the ability to hear. You understand? They have the ability to hear. So imagine somebody is sneaking up on you and your back is turned. Alright, you could see all you could see, but your back is turned, and you cannot hear them sneaking up on you. What do you say the eyes then? Would not the eyes need the ears? Because the eyes, if you was to get critically injured to see you're gonna die, would not the ears and the eyes be done away with? So who won the eyes, the brain, the entire body depend on the ears. The ears that is not so common. You understand? And not so attractive. So you see, it is not about one part. You understand? It's not. It is about the body, right? Where you could bring to the church, right? So you look at a house, right? Is the ceiling more important than the floor? Is the floor more important than the walls? Is the walls more important than the furniture? Is the furniture more important than the windows? Is the windows more important than the doors? Right? You think. What is the purpose of a foundation if you're not going to build upon it? Right? And what is the purpose of a ceiling and walls with no foundation, with no floor. What is the purpose of windows, right? If you have no doors, right? If somebody was to break into your house, right? You have windows, but you have no doors. Who you think you're gonna keep out? No one. You understand? Is the point? You just look at it, right? The sun and the moon, right? Is the moon more important than the sun, right? Is it? Is the moon more important than the sun? Is the sun more important than the moon? No, they were created to be lights in the firmament, and they do their role. The sun rules the day, and the moon rules the night. Right? It's not a question of who better. That's just what it is. You understand? Book of Ecclesiastes chapter 4 verse 9, it said 2 are better than 1, because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he had not another to help him up. Again, if two lie together, then they have heat, but how can one be warm alone? And if one prevail against him, two shall withstand him, and a threefold cord is not quickly broken. Right? Now, if you have a captain, and this captain has no crewmates, right? How far do you think he will reach? He will reach absolutely nowhere, right? He has nobody to steer the wheel, right? Talking about a ship. He has nobody to steer. He has nobody to man the sails, right? And all the other, I'm not too familiar with how it goes on a ship, a ship of the ancient time. But they realize a captain looks for a crew, right? He rounds up a crew when they go on different voyages or whatever, because you got the man to read the map. You would have the one, to man the sails, to pull the sail this way. These men will pull the sails this way. You gonna have men that would row. You understand? You would have men that you have a man to steer, right? One man that can steer the whole voyage, right? They will take turns. Might have a man on at the top of the ship, right, with a scope to see land, right? You gotta have those cleaning the ship or whatever the case is. You understand? Each person has their role, and if one man is unable to fulfill his role, it will ruin the entire order of the ship. Because if the men are them pulling the sails, and the man who's supposed to steer not steering, the ship would not be turning efficiently. You understand? It would not be turning efficiently. And if the men are manning the sails while he's steering, even though he turning left and he turning right, the wind would not be pushing the ship to his likeness. You understand? So everything, the Lord set up certain men to do certain things, right? Everybody has their own role, and your duty is to fulfill your role, to stay in your lot and fulfill your role. Simple as that, and you will be rewarded for it. You understand? Not to look at this one, to look at this one, right? Is your middle finger, I continue to say, is your middle finger greater than your index? Is your index greater than your pinky? No. You understand? They are all fingers and they all do the same thing. And you would realize that you are strongest, your hand is strongest when you're using your 5 fingers to hold something. Each finger at different size, not different, at different length, perfectly created. You understand? If you really look at it, perfectly created to pick things up and to hold on to things, right? If the thumb was to grow longer than all the fingers, it would not work out, right? Same if the pinky was to grow, was to shrink, you would lose strength in your hand, right? So it's about the body. You understand? Not everybody is a prophet, not everybody is a teacher, and everybody, we all have our different rules, right? All our different talents, and you need to sharpen your own sword, your own skills, right? Come into your own and become your own man, and you will realize that you will begin to shine. But that will be system was edifying. All praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Akakodash, Shalom.